Good day, welcome to Music Motors and welcome to this, the 2020 Peugeot 208, a car which many in the motoring world have been long anticipating. This is a car which has been completely re-engineered from the ground up. Now this is a GT line, and the GT line benefits from nice exterior styling, 17-inch alloys, but underneath this is powered by a 1.23 cylinder which produces 129 horsepower, 230 newton meters of torque, and will propel itself to 62 miles an hour in 8.7 seconds, topping out 129 miles an hour. This one on the road, this specific car on the road, costs round about £25,000. However, a GT line without options will set you back about just over 23. But these are some essential options like a ginormous panoramic sunroof and all the need things that you would want, including adaptive cruise control. I've been long anticipating this 208 because I really didn't like the previous generation. Nothing really wrong with it, but unfortunately it ended up picking up a stereotype as a not very good car driven by people who didn't drive it very well, but itself, being itself, it was all right. This one, however, seems to have this new sporty styling, a good interior, whilst a relatively big price tag. It is a whole new level of a car. So in this episode of Music Motors, I'm going to find out about the 208 and kind of discover what I like and don't like about it, and hopefully if you're watching this because you're considering buying one, this will help you decide. With the 208 being a city car, really I should give it a city test, and what I'm going to do is give it a combined city test. There will be a lot of town driving, but there will be a lot of back road as well. There should be some traffic. Just trying to give you a combined everyday town-ish test. There was about as much traffic as I was expecting, and the 208 kind of performed exactly how I wanted it to, i.e. the visibility was good, it was quite comfortable, the standard sound system's good, everything about it is relatively good around town, and then you consider 44 miles per gallon combined is what I got there, so that's between the heavy traffic driving and a bit of everything. So if it was just traffic, expect to see about 37, 38. When that was at 44 miles per gallon combined, that is really good, especially considering it's a 3-cylinder motor moving this and it doesn't feel slow, 129 horsepower. Really good job. Outside, the 208 has had a significant revamp. Whilst you still can see influence of the previous design, for the most part this has been completely overhauled. At the front end you've got a saber-tooth kind of light cluster going on with a nice big grille, but not overly intrusive. The front end proportions actually seem very, very nice. What you will find is that at night it's a very distinctive car because of that light cluster. That saber-tooth light design makes it really stick out, and to be fair, even in the daytime that really nice light cluster display really sets it apart from any of the competitors. It looks really, really good. For the rest of the front end wise, it's just nice and sleek and smooth. It's round where it needs to be round and sharp where it needs to be sharp. It's a nice combination of everything, which is really, truly very impressive. The side profile is equally quite sleek, but reminisces of the previous generation, but equally not so much so that you think they haven't done anything. It's clearly been updated and made significantly better. I'm a big fan of that designing on the side. Now the back end has had some criticism. I actually once heard someone say, if you love the back end of this, then you must love the back end of Civics too. And I guess it kind of comes under that Marmite-y kind of design, but I love it. You'll see this sort of design going on with things like the new Honda E, or their little electric car. This kind of more boxy rear end with cute little digital lights, or they're not digital, but you get the impression I'm going for. The back end is just really smooth and refined, and in general the whole exterior of the car really looks fantastic. These 17-inch diamond cut alloys look incredible. They really, really do. They set off this car to the utmost as a GT line, that is anyway. So in general you'll find that the exterior of this car looks fantastic no matter where you park it. The lines are sleek, it's exactly what you want from a small city car, but equally it can do everything that the big boys can do too. But we'll get to that. It's an early morning start for this gig test because I'm playing at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on a home game. I don't really know how much of today I'm going to be able to film aside from car stuff, but I'm going to try and get as much as I possibly can. Today is a test of general fuel economy, comfort, town and a lot of motorway driving. So let's see just how well this does. And for reference, this is only an acoustic guitar gig, so the acoustic guitar is what is in the back. If I had my amp, the amp does fit in the boot, but the bass has to go on the back seats. If I can be honest, I'm really surprised because this was really comfortable. I had enough poke to deal with motorways and around towns and quick manoeuvres, and genuinely was quite nice to be in for the entire day. But the biggest surprise was the fact that I got 49 miles to the gallon. 49 miles to the gallon as a combined run with heavy traffic and massive detours. This really is an awesome car, and whilst it doesn't have as much rear legroom as I'd like, the boot could be slightly bigger. The size, the weight of this car means you get that fuel economy and this driving characteristic. Visibility is really good in traffic. I've been really comfortable and I'm not bored of driving. So as a gig test go, this excelled. When you get from that incredible exterior, bright shouty exterior with lovely designs, you get to an equally brilliantly designed interior, which is considerably better than you would have considered Peugeot doing some time ago. Now this sort of design on the interior started with the 508, which I really liked, then continued, and obviously they've now passed it onto the 208, including having 208 on the front end. The styling cues outside and inside are following through as the entire generations of their models get updated. But from the inside point of view, so from the driver's seat, this one's got the optional 3D cockpit display, which is really truly very good, very easy to deal with. And then you've got your nice infotainment screen. Now this infotainment system itself, it's not bad. It is a very good system, but it can be a little bit fiddly. These piano-esque touch buttons can be a little bit OTT at times. You just think, I just want to press a simple button. I don't want to have to navigate over stuff and pretend that I'm playing Rachmaninoff. But aside from that, the infotainment itself is very good, easy to use, and as a standard sound system goes, this one is very good as well. Visibility from the driver's seat is very good. It does almost give a big car impression, but not too much. There aren't too many bulges, but at times it did feel like it was a little bit difficult to navigate through the tighter spots, where in the previous generation I actually didn't have that problem. Passenger-wise, the comfort is good. The sound quality on the interior is good to the extent that around town you won't really hear much road noise. On the motorway it does end up starting to cut through, but not too badly. But consider this as a city car, that's not bad by any means, and it's no worse than competitive vehicles when it comes to that sound level. Rear seat wise, well, they exist. Tall people need not look there, but if you are someone who is around 5'8" to 5'10", you could deal in the back of this for amounts of time. You wouldn't want to be in there for very long though, because it would drive you absolutely mad. Boot space is reasonable, especially considering the size of the car, and within reason it passes my basic gigging test. Although my bass does have to go on the back seat, speaker wise everything fits in the back, much like a Polo. From that class point of view then, this has done as well as I would have expected it to have done, but at the same time having its own quirks. The interior design aesthetic is very nice. I really do quite like it, and I do like how everything is laid out. Nice curves, you feel comfortable, you feel safe. It's nicely put together. There aren't too many plastics, and where there are plastics, they don't feel cheap. As interior quality goes, this is far above what you ever would have considered possible of Peugeot in years gone by. This is really, they're upping their game in such a substantial way that the competitors are really going to have to be on their toes to keep up with the progress that Peugeot are making. Obviously that's helped by PSA Group having so much information that they can pass around. Performance-wise is something which you don't tend to put 3-cylinder 1.2 litre petrols in, but it does have some performance. It's a nice balanced chassis which, whilst at times could feel like it's kind of lumbering over stuff, it generally feels quite nimble, quite quick to react. That 1.2 litre 3-cylinder is 129 horsepower, 230 newton meters of torque, and it will get to 62 miles an hour in 8.7 seconds. Although I've actually timed it at 8.5 and 129 mile an hour top speed, which I obviously can't test, it really doesn't struggle to move around. It does a really, really impressively good job of motoring. What you'll find is on town driving, it's got more than enough nip to get out at tight junctions, at lights where you want to be first off the mark. It really, really doesn't struggle to do that. But where it does tend to then struggle is on motorways when you're sat at 65 miles an hour and you need to overtake someone and you're going uphill. The fact that it is that smaller engine does mean it does struggle just that little bit, but not terribly, and no worse than any of the competitor vehicles do with this type of engine, like Ford's 1 litre EcoBoost 3-cylinder. On country back roads you can have really good fun with this because it does feel really balanced and really composed within reason, though there is a limit of grip. When you go beyond it, the car does start to understeer just a little bit, but it kind of reminds me of that early 206 driving characteristic, especially 206 GTI. Once you went past a certain point it almost gave up, but this doesn't. It still holds on, it's just slipping a little bit more. Economy wise, Peugeot claim that you can see up to 51 miles per gallon at best, about 41 at worst. Now within reason, whilst it's not completely accurate, it's not actually that far off. I saw on town runs anything between 38 to 43 miles per gallon, and motorway runs, it depends what you're doing. If you're going to be stuck in heavy traffic on the M25, it's going to be different, but if you get a clear run and you're driving at 65 miles an hour, then it's a no-brainer. You're quite easily going to see 50 miles to the gallon. And 50 miles to the gallon out of a little car like this with a relatively big fuel tank means that you're not fueling up all the time. I guess performance-wise, it really just surprised me that it was as capable as it was to all the different driving types and things that you could put it through. But at the same time, it could then so easily deal with city life with an incredible lock for getting around tight turns into ridiculous, like, multi-storey car parks. It really was capable of doing anything and everything. Interior wise, I found it comfortable. These seats are really holding, hugging, whilst not heated. Because they're cloth, you don't notice it when it's too cold, and it is a nice airy feel, even though, to be fair, there isn't actually that much room in here. Peugeot have done a superb job of making it feel like there is. And exterior design, some may not like it, but I love it. This redesign is really, truly, it's groundbreaking for Peugeot, because they're making pretty cars again. For like the most part from the year 2000, or even say beyond that, from say 1995 to only a couple of years ago, I wasn't always the biggest fan of French cars. I didn't really always like the design. But now finally, French car design is on and up, and boy does it look good. Because this car is a piece of art from the outside. From the inside, it's perfect and comfortable for every daily point of use you could want, and the economy and performance is more than acceptable. For a GT line with options costing just under £24,000 a month, in PCP or lease terms, I got a quote from a local dealer and it was about £350 a month with a £2,000 deposit, 6,000 miles per annum. It's not a huge amount of money, and whilst it isn't a huge car, and in used car values you would get more, I think this is worth every single penny.